Good morning. Can you hear me with the mask on? Don't worry, it's not the big C, it's a little c. So I will keep my announcement brief so that I don't start hacking and coughing. But this is FluteSpiration. They're just coming out here while I make a few announcements. You can applaud for them after I'm done. Because this is our last 2023 concert, I listed in the program at the very bottom of the second page under the bios our upcoming events in January and February. So please come back in 2024. We have a lot of stuff going on. We actually have a blood drive even happening January 20th. So if you or someone you know likes to do that, it will be here from 10 to 4 p.m. It's a Saturday. And I do have a few posters kind of throughout with a QR code to sign up, or I can help you if you like to donate blood. Let me know. The next coffee concert is at the end of January. I think it's January 30th, Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. And it is featuring a string trio by the name of the Nine Bark Ensemble. So I believe that's violin, viola, and cello. And they're a fairly new group, although they are seasoned performers with various other groups, but they're coming together with this new ensemble, so it should be a real treat. And then our next concert, like our season concert, Bluegrass concert series, is February 9th, and it's not a bluegrass band, it's a Mardi Gras Zydeco band by the name of Everett Smithson. So there are tickets available now for that, and I can certainly help you purchase those if you would like to do that today. So, without further ado, please welcome the FluteSpiration Quartet.
Is it on? Okay, great. Good morning. We are FluteSpiration Quartet, and our hope is to bring inspiration and joy to you through the music of our flutes. We would like to open our program with two movements from The Legends of the Greenwood by Catherine McMichael. The first is a love song called Evangeline, followed by a perky description of Paul Bunyan and his blue ox babe. So you can think of the big ox and his cart and all that wonderful northern Minnesota. Catherine McMichael is a pianist, arranger, composer, and publisher of a wide variety of choral music, chamber music, and Suzuki-related teaching material. She teaches, performs, and composes, and her professional musical life is based in Saginaw, Michigan.
It Takes Four to Tango by Daniel Dorff. And if you count us up, there's 4 of us. So we're going to try to tango. And if you want to, you can kind of tango in your seats too at the same time.
You need to get my news. Well, it's time for us to introduce to you the different members of our quartet and also the different flutes that you're seeing. You might notice these. Some look a little different, a little bigger, a little smaller than maybe you're used to seeing. We'll start at the very top with the piccolo. So the piccolo is pitched in the key of C, which is the same as the bass flute and the regular C flute, but it's an octave higher. And oftentimes, if you're outside at a concert band performance or an orchestra, you might hear the piccolo in a Sousa march or soaring above the orchestra, which is my favorite place to be. And usually kids start to play piccolo when they're a little bit older, and I'll play a little bit for you so you can hear the piccolo. You might recognize that little ditty. The next flute we have is the C flute, which is what Sandra is playing. Her flute is made out of silver, and a mix of gold. Aramite is what it's called. And flutes can be made of lots of different materials. And let's hear a little something from Sandra. A little Mozart, I like that. And most kids
start out playing on the C flute, and you'll hear that in orchestras and in concert band. And then we have two of our harmony flutes. Mark is playing alto flute, which is pitched in the key of G, and you'll see Peggy playing alto flute later, which has a curved head joint, but Mark has nice long arms, and so he can play the whole thing. Mark, let's hear a little bit of the alto flute. That's so beautiful. And sometimes Mark will bring out his special grenadilla wood head joint, so there's lots of different ways you can make the alto flute sound different as well. And then Peggy is playing the bass flute, and this particular flute is a vertical bass flute. Sometimes you'll see them horizontal, which also takes big arms to do. And the bass flute is pitched in the key of C, and it's quite a bit lower than the regular flute. Let's hear a little bass flute. And all of these flutes take lots of air to play, but especially the bass flute,
Thank you, Dawn. Well, the next selection on our program today is called Umoja, which is the Swahili word for unity, and it is the first day in the 7 of the African American celebration of Kwanzaa, which happens to start next Tuesday, the day after Christmas. The original composition calls for unity through a tradition of call and response that was first meant to be a simple family sing-along song for Kwanzaa. It was added to the wind quintet repertoire of Imani Winds, and they're based out of New York City. It's a wind quintet that was created and founded by composer and flutist Valerie Coleman. And this piece soon became a signature piece of their ensemble. Since then, Valerie Coleman has made arrangements of this piece for orchestra and many varied chamber groups, including flute quartet.
we're going to move from Kwanzaa to Christmas. We're going to play some Christmas carols. I think you'll recognize all of them, so I'm not going to introduce every single one, but we're going to start with Hark the Herald Angels.
So, besides that being my favorite Christmas carol to play, I just wanted to share with you, because I'm trying not to cry and I just need a sec. This is my first time officially back with the quartet and recital since I was told almost 2 years ago that my flute career was done for an injury. And in fact, last summer, I couldn't even hold a fork in my hand to eat. So I just needed a moment, or I was just going to cry through the next piece. But it is such a privilege and a joy to be here with the quartet and to play for you today. So now that I have gained myself again, let's continue.
I should perhaps also mention that I'm getting a Christmas gift this year. I'm 5 weeks out from a total knee replacement. So that's why I'm using my little stool here. I normally stand with the rest of the group, but it's such a privilege that the timing worked out and I'm able to be here to play today. So next is a delightful trio. It was written by James Hook, who lived from 1746 to 1827 during the classical music period. He was giving prodigious concert performances at the early age of 6. After his father's death in 1757, he earned his living by performing, teaching the flute, guitar, piano, violin, music copying, and instrument tuning. In 1763, he went to London, was organist at Marylebone Gardens, Ball Gardens, and then for many years at St. John's in Horsley Down. Hook was versatile and extremely prolific composer. He wrote about 30 stage works, including pantomimes, musical entertainments, operas, and incidental music, around 2,000 short songs, and organ and piano concertos, many different kinds of chamber works, works for organ and for piano, and also a few instructional methods. So we're very thrilled that we found this wonderful trio for flutes by James Hook.
This next piece we're going to play is a lovely three-movement French composition. It was written in 1979, and it demonstrates the many tone colors and styles, ending with a vibrant, fast dance. And this melodic work is very popular amongst flutists. Eugene Botza won different prizes at the Conservatoire de Paris, such as the first prize for violin, also conducting, also composition, and the Grand Prix de Rome. He composed several operas, chamber works, and ballets. Please enjoy Trois Pièces by Eugene Botza.
Kaleidoscope is the first movement of a composition called etchings. How many of you remember playing with kaleidoscope toys as children? Raise your hand. Yeah, that tube, they consist of a tube containing mirrors and pieces of colored glass or paper whose reflections produce changing patterns as you turn the tube that are visible through an eye hole. This composition gives the feel of the rotational crystalline patterns through sound. So we hope we take you back to some wonderful childhood memories.
All right, now we're going to move back to Christmas season again. We're going to play the Carol of the Bells, Dance of the Reed Flutes, Go Tell It on the Mountain, and then we're going to close off with Ding Dong Merrily on High.
Thank you so much for having us here today. You've been just a wonderful audience, and it's been a real thrill for us to share music. We consider it an honor and a joy to play today. Here's hoping you felt uplifted and inspired by FluteSpiration. If you can bear with us, we'd like to share an encore piece. This piece is called Scherzino. It's by Joachim Andersen. It's a standard of the flute repertory, but it was written for flute and piano. Well, we have another member of our quartet. We've been rotating a bit with Sandra's surgery this last year, and Trudy is also an arranger. So she arranged this piece for quartet, and it's become one of our favorites. So because we love it so much, we'd like to play it today and share it with you as our final piece. Thank you.
Beautiful playing, Mark, as always.